Well, we're back in the shop this morning, and I've been tinkering around with a couple things here and there. Got a few things knocked out. First thing I did was made a bracket for the shifter cable. It just goes right there on the bell housing bolt, and that just holds the rod right there. It's nice and sturdy. Just used 1/8" plate, and now I can shift it, and that lines up good. And then for the top side, this bracket here and this one goes to the floor, so the cable will run right around here somewhere, and then this one will bolt to the floor of the truck, and then it'll use a P-clamp to hold the cable right here, and then the shifter will go right there. But I'm not going to install this one yet until I have the cabin and know where it needs to be for sure. But that one's done, out of the way. Looks like it's gonna work good. And here's a look at the air dog pump with it all mounted. I got the fuel lines ran forward and back, except for back here. I still got to go to the tank, but I left plenty of slack. And then I started mocking up the battery cables to make sure I have enough, and I think I do. So I'm gonna start running the battery cable and cut it to length, get the ends on it, and then see how I want to fasten it to the frame. Alright, cable's all cut to length. Got the ends on there with the little sheathing connected to the starter, and then battery on the other end. And I'm gonna go ahead and install these P-clamps every couple feet just to hold it secure and nice and tight. And then we'll start working on the ground cables and then the other cables that connect the batteries together. Okay, here's what I got going on. Got the P-clamps all installed. Battery cables ran across the cross member, and I made sure I used these like rubber isolator things on the ends of the metal there so that it won't rub on the wire, both there and here. And then I got the ends of the wire wrapped so if anything it won't be visible from any angle. And then this is one of the ground cables. It's gonna go from there to there. And then I got this one made. That's for positive. And then this one bolted to the frame underneath goes to negative. So battery cables are all ran. See here where it's bolted to the frame. Got it cleaned up, bolted on. Now I just need to run an alternator wire and then some grounds from the frame to the engine. And then that'll be pretty much it for the big battery cables, and the rest will be like the small harness stuff. So I'm gonna look at the alternator cable, see what I gotta do for that, and then figure out some grounds. Let's go ahead and hook up our charge cable and run it under the truck to the starter side. Figure out how I want to run this one. Try to keep it clean. Let's see. I think I'm just going to go across down here on the cross member and then go up on the other side to the starter. Well, I've been having a ton of issues with the GoPro, and I got a lot of work done actually, and none of it has audio, and some of the clips are corrupted and messed up. But little recap on what I have going on. I got the stacks kind of mocked up on here. The tanks are on there. Bottom of the tank's cut. I don't know what else didn't get showed on here. The drive line is cut, and I put it back in there. It's not welded yet, but the slip joint's in there, and it's all in place where it needs to be. I just got to make sure it's in round with the run out tool, make sure it's good, and then weld it. And yeah, a few other things up front I did. Got the transmission cooler mounted up here. I had to bend the lines a bit to get them off the sway bar, and the factory lines will just come right here and hook up. I just haven't cut them and done it yet. New power steering line. This is the old one. I replaced this one because it was stripped and also the hose wasn't long enough. And when you buy new ones, they come cut to length, so it's plenty long because it only has to go here to the pump. But I haven't done that end yet. Fuel lines are ran for the air dog pump. Battery cables are ran. Yeah, quite a bit of stuff's been done. I got radiator hoses that fit. This is the factory 2nd gen Dodge one. I just cut it. And I got a new replacement one, but it ended up actually not fitting. So I'm just gonna use this older one because it's in good shape and it fits perfect. Then this is a 1st gen Dodge hose. I had to cut about 3 inches off the end of it there. And it fits on here and goes to the radiator, just like it should. And yeah, everything's coming together pretty good. I started working on the wiring for the taillight harness. I didn't really wire any taillights yet, but I made this harness and covered the whole thing in this nice sheathing and ran it all the way back to the bumper, but I haven't done anything from there down to the lights. And then I also added in that same harness. Down here you can see the ground wire and then the other 2 wires here. These will go up to the fuel tank for the sending unit, which I did install. Just hole sawed a hole, drilled little holes, tapped them, and then bolted that in with the gasket. I still need to take it out and adjust it and get the float level right for this size tank, but that's kind of just a test fit to make sure it works, and it'll fit, it'll seal, it smashed the gasket all the way around. And here's the other harness back here where it comes out in the back. I'm thinking I want to put like connectors on the end rather than just using butt connectors. I'll get like some 3-pin or 4-pin connectors and put them throughout just so everything's removable and it's not all just one piece I have to cut apart. And then I gotta put the taillights in, wire those, wire a plug-in for the trailer, wire license plate lights, because reverse lights are gonna be right here. And then I have little tiny LEDs to add in like down here on the end. And I was thinking of putting them along the front or along the sides of the truck, but I don't really want to drill a bunch of holes in it in case I don't like it. So I'm gonna leave it how it is, and maybe down the road I'll add something, or maybe plate these ends here and put a light or something. Not too sure yet, but I'm mainly just focusing on the stuff that needs to be done so the truck can get done in time to make it to a show. So the stacks are mocked up and I got everything measured and figured out what I need to build the exhaust to connect the downpipe over. So the downpipe is actually bumping into, or not bumping into, but running straight into the transmount. So what I think I'm gonna do is up here, just cut the tube and take like 3 inches out of it, and that'll bring this end up here a little higher and over. And then I ordered 2 45s or 2 90s, and that'll be enough to 90 it down and then 90 over to the Y pipe that'll go to the stacks, and that should work good. There's also an adapter in there to go from 5-inch to 4-inch, because the stacks are 5 at the bottom and the downpipe's only 4. And if I need any movement, there is a ball flange here, so this has some movement in it and wiggle room if I need. Well, some tubing showed up for the exhaust, so I'm gonna go ahead and get chopping on this thing and get it going. Been fighting with camera issues all morning, but I got this thing mocked up, almost done welding it out. Looks pretty good. So just the original downpipe, and I had cut this off and shortened it, and then I added this piece in here, and then hit 45s, and then 45s, I guess 90 again, and then the transition from 4 to 5, then the Y pipe to the stacks. Pretty simple. Has good clearance from the transmount and the brace down there, so shouldn't have any rattles. And I think I want to wrap the exhaust with like the heat wrap stuff to keep the heat off the floor of the truck, because it's gonna be pretty close to the floor, but I want to keep the cab as comfortable as I can, so I'll probably get that wrapped up. But I just gotta finish welding the Y pipe back here, and this one's a slip joint with a clamp here. This Y pipe side is going to be welded to this stack, so there's not enough material there to put a clamp on it. And then this side over here will have a clamp. So the Y pipe's stuck to this stack, down pipe's its own piece, and then that stack is its own piece. Start putting the radiator and intercooler back in, and we'll try to make some charge pipes for the intercooler. Find the hole, there it is. And we'll just use the radiator hoses to kind of hold the radiator up for now. Intercooler just sits right here. Grab those mounts. That's it. Now let's get this elbow on there, and then we'll start mocking up some charge pipes. So, alright, this one was pretty simple. I just took the 45 and cut it off, cleaned up the edge, and now that lines up pretty good. All we need now is a 45 coupler. So I need to order new couplers because the ones that come in this kit are all 3" because the piping is all 3", but the intercooler is 3 1/4. So I'm gonna get 3" to 3 1/4 45, and that'll be perfect right there. And that keeps it down away. Kind of gives me extra room to get to the oil filter and stuff, which is nice, rather than coming straight up. So I'm gonna call this side done, and we'll get to the other side. This side should be just as easy, really. It's probably just another 45, but we'll see what it takes. All right, that's gonna be it right there. Straight coupler up here and a 45 down here. I think it'll be perfect. That was way easier than I really thought. I thought I was going to do a bunch of cutting and welding with these tubes, but that'll work good. If I have any clearance issues with the master cylinder and all that, then I'll make adjustments, but as of now, this looks like it'll work. Okay, I threw some clamps on there to kind of hold it in place. So that's what we got for fitment. It's a little less than a 45. Almost think a straight would work for this end. And then this side is definitely a 45, and that'll work good. And it gives nice clearance for everything. There's room under here for the frame rail and the control arm, so not worried about any rattling. Just need to take these tubes off, take them with me to work, and bead roll them on the ends that I cut. So it's got a bead on it like that, so the coupler has something to bite, and it's not going to blow off when it builds boost. Same with this one. Gotta do both sides, and then order those couplers, and I think we'll be good to go. Oh man, that thing's heavy. Okay, I came through here and buttoned up a few more things. Put some P-clamps on the fuel lines and the battery cable. Plugged in the fuel pump harness. Put the TV cable back on, the transmission harness, little TV spring. A couple little things I just buttoned up, put the rear brake line back on. And I think that's everything I need to do back here for the most part. But I want to get as much of it done as I can before I put the motor, or put the cab back down on top. But I think I'm ready to drop the cab down. I don't have it totally squared up with the frame right now, but it's pretty close. So let's bring it down and see what happens. Cab's all in place, right where it needs to be. Got the front end bolted on, the front cab mount's bolted on, still gotta finish the rear. But our fitment for everything looks pretty good. Charge pipes are clear of everything. Both sides look good. The transmission dipstick fits, which I was kind of curious about because I never test fitted it before I built the doghouse. Yeah, everything else seems to be lining up good, fitting good. Radiator hoses are still good. I'm gonna get this intercooler and radiator bolted down, and then actually I'm not gonna bolt that down. I need to get these out and paint them, or at least the intercooler. I want to paint the intercooler black just so it blends in the grill a little better, and I'll leave the radiator how it is. Yeah, it's looking good. I'm gonna get working on the back cab mounts, and then we'll get those put in. Once those are done, then we'll start doing the Hydro Boost and all that stuff. Rear cab mounts are done. Got some extra rubber bushings in there to lift it up a little bit, and just gotta add the bottom part and the washer and tighten it all down. But I need to get shorter bolts first because those are like almost a foot long. I need some shorter bolts, and then the cab mounts will be done. I got parts coming for the driveline tomorrow or Tuesday, I think. We'll get that done, get the drive shaft painted, and yeah, after that's done, we'll be hitting the home stretch and getting this thing all buttoned up. All right, guys, well, we're back in the shop. Still having issues with the GoPro getting audio, and sometimes it's all crackly, sometimes it doesn't have audio at all. So I took the external mic off. Now it's just the GoPro with the built-in mic. So hopefully the audio is still decent. But I'm gonna get back to work on the truck here. Got lots of stuff to knock out, and there's quite a bit of stuff that got done that wasn't shown. So obviously the cab is on. I think that was in the video. I ran most of the wiring for the engine harness. This is the fuel pump harness. We got radiator hoses mocked up, fitting. Powder coated the charge pipes. Still waiting for a coupler for that. Started mocking up an intake pipe, but I'm gonna have to order some different stuff because what I have here is not gonna work. Ended up painting the intercooler black just because it looks better behind there. Got the transmission cooler mounted in there, and the lines ran to it just using the stock lines. Then I have all this chassis wiring here. It all goes through the firewall. This is all wiring for the fuel pump and the engine harness. And then the transmission controller, the fire punk anteater, it's mounted here, and the wiring for that. And then inside the truck, I got the low car shifter mounted up. Got the whole firewall, or not the whole firewall, but the doghouse coated with the kill mat. It's like the Dynamat stuff. Stick on heat protective and vibration dampener. Mainly on the passenger side because the exhaust over there, and then I ran out, but I would like to do the whole floor over here too. Got the pedals modified and put in, so I had to bend the throttle pedal up a little bit so I can get the full range of motion out of the throttle cable. And then I got some wiring coming in here. It's for the OBD2 port. We'll mount that somewhere. And then all the wiring for the chassis, it's all behind the dash, wired to the dash. I hooked everything up, ran it, tied it in there clean, and then put the dash in the truck and ran the wires, so it's super clean. All the wires are wrapped with this Tesa tape, so it's all connectors and wrapped up. These are all for the gauges that will go in the cluster. I got a new window switch I got to put in. None of these knobs are going to be used. They're kind of just there to fill the holes. Got to make a new panel for the gauges. And then if we go around the other side of the truck, you can look in the glove box here, and I put the fuse box in the stock location from the original fuse box. So I got all our fuses here. A lot of them actually aren't being used anymore because I deleted a lot of the circuits, like door locks and power windows, trunk light, stuff like that, all got deleted. So I'll have spares. I gotta go through and figure out which ones so I can keep them as spares. And then that'll be nice being in there. I do need to find a new button for this because it's just got like a piece of metal holding it together. But yeah, dash fitment is good. Bolt holes lined up here, lined up all across the top, and the fitment is like less than a 1/16 away from the doghouse. So it looks really good there. Shifter fitment's good. I do think the sheet metal here is a little flimsy because it kind of wiggles a little bit, but I can do something to reinforce that, maybe weld something on the bottom side. But I really don't think it'd be that much of an issue because you're not putting that much force on the shifter going forward and back. And plus, once this trim piece is on there, that'll add more contact points where it's kind of holding it together with the extra piece of metal. But we'll see when the time comes. So yeah, lots of progress so far. All the sound deadening over here. Still got a few things to do wiring wise on the inside, like the cab lights up top, the dome light. I need to wire all that in. Then lots of wiring to do in the engine bay and finish up the intake system, run the wiring for the fans, and then I need to hook up coolant temperature sensor and oil pressure gauge, which I ordered all the fittings for that because coolant temp is going to go right here on the head. Oil pressure goes off the top of the oil filter housing down here, and then off to the gauges with the wiring. Which the nice thing I kind of did ahead of time was all the gauges and sensors and everything I need, I pre-ran the wires with this whole loom. So they're all in here, everything's labeled. So it should be pretty straightforward to get it all back together. And then another thing I need to knock out engine bay is the brake lines going from the proportioning valve down to the front wheels and the rear wheels. Alright guys, we're back at the house. Let's go ahead and do a quick walk around of this thing real fast to close out the video. But I'm stoked with how good this thing drives. It's pretty mind-blowing. It drives just like I expected it to, I guess, just like the Dodge, because it's all stock Dodge pretty much. But I don't know, it's just cool driving something so old, at least looks so old, that drives so nice. So I'll just do a quick walk around, show everything, because I know not everything made it into the videos. So obviously the dummy fuel tank over here with the batteries in it. And then I did end up adding a kill switch for the battery on the side of the bed there. And then I added a couple of little D-rings on a couple of the bolts just for like strapping down random stuff with bungee cords or whatever. Stock leaf springs. Got the 24s with the little plastic spikes and caps. I do want to upgrade to metal ones eventually, but those came with the wheels, so that's what I'm rocking for now. Got the mud flaps on and modified clearance around the leaf spring. Looks like nothing's made any contact so far from driving, which is good. Got the the gooseneck ball and the little hooks for the chains. And those are on springs, so you can pull them up and they'll spring back down. And back here we got the other hitch. Still need to add in a plug for the trailer wiring, but the hitch is there. D-rings for the chains. Got the tags and everything on. License plate light. And then all of our lights on the sides. And the rear end is lowered, I believe 4 inches, because it's a 2-inch shackle and a 2-inch drop mount in the front. And the drop mount in the front is to keep the pinion angle the same, because if you just drop the back half, it turns the axle, and this way it all stays good. And this is the fuel tank. On this side, got the sending unit and a little breather, and all the fuel lines connect on the bottom with the air dog pump with the fuel filter built into that. And then I guess I'll show the stacks back here. Got the mounts all bolted down for the stacks. Slip joint here, so I can unbolt this one, take the top half of the stack off to get the truck in and out of the shop, because it does not fit in the shop with those stacks on there like that. I'll go inside. The seat is still the original seat, pretty beat up and torn, but it'll get replaced in the future. I'm not really too worried about it right now at this point. It works, gets the job done. And then for the gauges, I use these eBay Dolphin gauges. I guess I wouldn't call them eBay gauges, I just bought them on eBay. But they're Dolphin brand. Speedometer is GPS, everything else is electronic censored. And then tack, I still need to program that with the swap helper module. It's all wired in and connected, I just gotta program it right. Over here we got the EGT trans temp and the boost gauge where the factory radio used to be. I just took that out because I'm not using a radio yet. And then I took a couple of the stock HVAC little knobs, like little pull knobs, and put in switches. These two aren't hooked to anything yet, they're just there. This one is the exhaust brake. And I think in the future I'm going to peel this label off and then probably pinstripe and label these like with the paint, just to have a little old school feel to it. And then down here is the Anteater controller, so I can change the tune and overdrive on off. And then the shifter is 23-inch low car, just with the lockout button on top, so that way it locks in gear and it can't move. And then we still got the old tack up here that isn't hooked up to nothing, it just looks cool on the dash. And we'll go ahead and head under the hood. So pretty much most of this has been shown on video, besides the wiring really. And I did end up adding 2 more cab lights on the roof because this truck only had 3. And I actually posted a video on TikTok and someone reached out and said they had lights, so I bought them from them. Got those shipped here and put those on. And inside over here, I got all the sound deadening stuff on here. I was hoping that would kind of help with heat, but it really doesn't do much because it still gets super hot. So I think I'm gonna have to wrap the downpipe and everything with the heat wrap, maybe put a turbo blanket on the turbo, and then there's some other stuff like this that's like harder aluminum that I'm gonna stick on the back side, on the engine side, and that should help with the heat a lot, because that side over there doesn't get hot at all, but this side gets extremely hot, where after the truck's running for 20 minutes, 10 minutes, you can't really touch it, it gets super hot. And in the glove box, I do need to go through and make a new glove box, either out of aluminum or make another leather one or something, but it's kind of falling apart, got a hole in it. And I got the fuse box right there, so it's nice, easy to get to in the glove box. And if I ever need to get to fuses, they're super simple. And it's cool because that's where the stock Loadstar one was. It just had the old little glass fuses, and I wanted to put the more updated one. I'm sure the glass ones would have worked fine, but just with updating everything, I wanted to make sure it was all modern stuff. And I do need a new button for this, so if anybody knows of where I can get one, or if anybody has one, or even a whole door, I'm very interested in that, because I'm tired of having this little piece of metal. Well guys, I'm super excited with how the truck came out and how it drives and how far this project's come. I know the last video or so has been kind of rough with the audio and struggling to get good footage, but I'll see what I can do with this video, get this one out. But I'm sure this will definitely not be the last video with this truck. I'm probably going to have quite a few more videos doing little things to it and just driving it around. And we'll be using it for a hauler. If I ever got to go pick something up with a trailer, I'll use this truck. And it's just cool. We'll take it to car shows and do stuff like that. But appreciate everybody watching the videos and all the support on that. I do have t-shirts coming soon for the Loadstar. I'll show the design here on the video. If anybody's interested in those, I'll try to get a link on there, or on the next video I'll have a link and announce it. But yeah, thank you guys for checking out the video. I'll throw some clips in here from a little car show we're gonna go to. Well, now that the Loadstar video, or not Loadstar video, now that the Loadstar project is pretty much wrapped up and there's not a whole lot more content left on it other than like little work here and there. And I've been grinding on that one so much, trying to get it done, because I got some shows coming up I gotta get to. I really want to get in the shop here and get some stuff moved around, organized, and just set up the shop better. Just now that I'm working on stuff more often, I kind of have a better idea of how I want things set up. So I'm gonna go through here and start organizing stuff and probably make videos of it just to show everything I'm doing around here. So if you guys think you'll watch those videos or at least check them out, leave a comment, let me know. I'm probably going to end up going through the lighting, redoing some of the wiring, moving the plasma table, setting up a better area, and just making this place better and better every time I do something. So it's one step at a time. It's definitely come a long way from when I first started working in here with no lift and just floor jack stands and beat up concrete, but it gets the job done. Now I got to take care of all this cardboard mess and break that down for the trash guy, get back to working here. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for checking out this one, and hopefully we get some better footage out of this new camera, so we'll have some better content and not lose half our clips anymore. Well, thank you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.